This is the Rhythm Authors Podcast for Tuesday, September 18th, 2012. Episode 40, Dudes and Guys and Bronies and Stuff. Welcome to another edition of the Rhythm Authors Podcast. I am your host, Mistaken, joined, as always, by my co-host, The Sound Offense.
Hello, Internet. Dark Souls, Dark Souls, Dark Souls, Dark Souls.
That doesn't make sense to anybody, Sound Offense.
I just figured I'd bring it up just in case anyone was listening to our previous conversation.
Yeah, because
before the podcast started.
Before the podcast started, that wasn't recorded. What is that laugh I hear off camera, Sound Offense?
I don't know. I feel like we got a straggler up in here. Show yourself.
Paolo from
I Have Invaded.
Yes. Arcanon from Chart Topper Studios has joined us once again to bring us a flurry of fantastic content from that fantastic authoring company. Hold on. My nose is a little bit brown right now. Paolo, how you been?
I've been alright. Busy, but alright.
It's been a long time since you've been on the show.
Yeah, I know, and a lot of stuff has been going on since then. We're still the little authoring company we used to be, but we don't have so little songs anymore, so...
Yeah, we're still the giant behemoth.
Big bad rhythm authors.
That exists to encapsulate you and make you feel insignificant. How do you feel about Blitz?
With our one release a month.
Shut up!
Oh, man.
You're ruining the illusion!
I'm winning this month, then.
God dang.
Somehow I ended up with 2 releases right after creators came back up. That's after a whole month of no releases, so something.
Sound Defense, how many times am I going to fire you from this podcast?
I'm counting like 6 or 7 at this point.
Anyway, Paolo, you're here, so that means we need to talk about some chart topper stuff, so why don't we kick right into your first song this week? Alrighty
then. First song is our current port over to PS3. It's Discord, the Living Tombstone remix by Eurobeat. That was Discord, the Living Tombstone remix by Eurobeat Brony. Your thoughts, gentlemen?
That's a Brony song, and
yes, it is.
We're cutting it. Cutting it.
Yeah. Next song.
No
Paolo, next song. So here's something I don't understand about the Brony community.
Sure.
We're
gonna go right into this. Huh?
I feel like I could preface that as a book, like a book that just says, "Here's something I don't understand about the Brony community," authored by the book, authored by Mistaken. It's my pen name, Mistaken. I don't use my real name.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, why? Like, so they're united in their love of My Little Pony, yet somehow they're also all are mostly very good musicians.
It's like, I don't know, it's like this whole community seems to have like the best musicians, some good graphic artists. It's like every talented person just suddenly decided to like a show about multicolored ponies and make art and music about them, and it doesn't suck.
Right, and that's the not sucking is the part that I don't understand, because I watched the Rugrats dubstep remix. It's not good. It's really terrible. And I don't understand, like, there's no good reason for this all to be as good as it is.
Well, I don't know. If you watch the show itself, I've seen a few episodes, the music in the show is actually rather good, so it doesn't surprise me that the community is making good music based off, because I imagine that musicians are drawn to the show.
It is. I mean, the show, one of the songs in the show even used a musical term to kind of hide foreshadowing, and so the music-oriented people would actually know what was going on in the episode. I mean, they actually put thought into the music, and that's something that isn't really seen that much in cartoons these days. And
right.
I guess the community is drawing in good people, because the people involved here are Eurobeat Brony, or well, he goes by Odyssey, has his own kind of label that is all his own stuff. And being a Eurobeat artist, he's got like 5, 6 different names for all the different kinds of music he does. And he's been doing this well before My Little Pony. So, I mean, it isn't just some guy who learned Eurobeat and happened to crank out good stuff.
Right.
And then Living Tombstone is responsible for stuff like, have you seen ASDF Movie 5?
I don't watch anything.
I've seen those.
Yeah, well, the 5th one, the instrumental at the very end, he did that. And he's been doing stuff like this for a lot. And he's done other songs that are, some that aren't in the electronic area, that have actually sounded good enough to be songs that you'd find on the radio. I mean, these are really talented people who happen to love the show and want to make songs about the show. And because of that, we have Brony music that doesn't suck.
Yeah, it just fascinates me how you would, like, I just wouldn't think that it would be that good. Like, I would think that it's like, okay, like, it's better than my music. And I think I'm okay. But I don't know.
And your music is like 10 times more difficult to play than this, because it's like guitar solos everywhere, and this is like 1.0.5 vocals.
But this has great hooks, you know, and like the chorus is a great hook. The verses are so much fun to listen to. You want to sing along to them, you know, and that's something that that's the code that I never cracked in my music. So, you know, to see a bunch of bronies just cracking that code. It just surprises me.
Really grinds your gears there, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't bother me that much, but it does. It's surprising to me that it is as good as it is.
And this is and this particular song isn't even the original version. I mean, the original Discord is like the vocals are slower, same choruses, same everything, but the instrumentals are completely different because it's all the original stuff, super fast kind of stuff. Some of which would probably reach Devil tier range in rock band form. So, I mean, it's like the two songs are completely different, and yet it's the same song somehow, and they've each got their own separate appeal.
Right, that's interesting. Yeah, let's just talk about the instrumentation a bit. I think vocals are up. Whoa, don't die on me.
I'm fine. I'll be alive for at least the next hour.
Okay, good. Good. That's all we need. Anyway.
After this podcast, you can just go ahead and die.
Yeah, I don't really care. That's so mean. But I think the vocals obviously shine on this. As I said, it's very catchy. You want to sing along to it. Keys looks pretty fun. Looks like a good sort of mid-level lead-focused keys chart.
Yeah, just about. I was watching that chart, and it's like, rhythmically, it's not very difficult. Most of your focus is on moving your hand around. So,
yeah. You
know, it's sort of an in-between.
It's not about, like, complex chords or anything like that.
Yeah, this is one of those rare songs that when I'm mixing to get it ready for Rock Band, instead of checking like 5 or 6 different guitar stems and 1 key stem, instead I've got 4 different synth stems all to sort out, and I'm cutting like 3 of them open to make the keys track, and then I just leave the chords over to guitar because there's no actual guitar in it, and they've got to be playing something.
Yeah,
but yeah, sense. It's one of those that are so layered with keys. And most of them are just going on throughout the song that I feel like I should be using some of these parts somewhere else, but I've already hacked and slashed this one as much as it is.
So, how do you feel about the Brony authoring group coming in and stepping all over the land that you pioneered by releasing the song?
I am perfectly fine with that. In fact, I've actually spoken to one of the guys in the Brony authoring group and let them know that it's a great thing that they
let them know that it's going down. That you will not stand for this anymore.
No, but seriously, it's like, I mean, like you said, there's Brony music that doesn't suck, and that's a majority of it. And if I could go after all of it, I would, just because it's all good music on its own. But I can't. Chart Toppers isn't a Brony authoring group. It's just an authoring group that has Brony music. I mean, I've got other projects to take care of, other artists that aren't in the community. So I can't go after everything if I wanted to, but here's a group that can actually go after all that stuff and bring it to the game, and I'm really happy about that. Plus, it's fresh faces to the RBN, and I mean, can't really complain about that. The thing is how we need more testers and such.
Right. But if it comes down to it, you will cut a cutie mark.
I will cut a cutie. Right off their flank.
This is so stupid. Okay.
More like a cutty mark.
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
And the puns have begun.
I had nothing else to say throughout almost the entire
This is
thing.
terrible. Okay, let's get away from that as fast as possible. Arcanon, what's your second song this week?
Moving on. Alright, we're going to go in a completely different direction here. Enjoy the hard rock stylings of Hated by the Venezuelan band by Sifting. So, opinions on that one?
I don't have any thoughts because my sister came in the room and talked to me. Sound effects, what do you think?
I got opinions. And you can't help but notice the lyrics in this song because it's a Venezuelan band singing in English, but the band did not quite check their English as thoroughly as they could. So you will notice some grammatical errors here and there, and it's an interesting.
Yeah, which really couldn't be avoided, of course, because, I mean, you could put A before 100 years, but he doesn't actually say that anywhere, so it'd be, like, that'd be technically overcharting.
It'd be disingenuous.
Grammar.
You'd be lying to your constituents.
And I cannot live with that on my conscience.
That's fair. That's a fair point. I do remember. I do remember some things about this. I remember the drum chart looks like a lot of fun.
It is. It's one of my favorite drum charts that we've put out, and probably one of my favorite drum charts, period, in the game. Because, it's a tier 5, so it's not like super difficult.
So it doesn't have blasts in it.
No blasts.
Because as we know, blasts are the only way that a song can be final tier.
Well, then I must have missteered all but 2 of my songs.
Internet.
Yeah, it's a tough drum song. It's right in my skill level. It's active. It's got a lot of kick. It's got some fast toms, interesting ride patterns. So
yeah,
drums are what I use to sell this song.
Yeah,
for the most part, even though everything's awesome about it for me.
There's a really cool ride polyrhythm. There's a lot of neat fills, as you said, with a lot of double bass fills, and just in general, unique rhythms in fills where it's not just he's rolling down the kit. He's doing a special rhythm for this fill, and that makes it a lot more fun.
Yeah, it was pretty tough to get some of it down. Especially there was one 3 ride pattern in the second chorus that kind of sounds like it should have been triplets or something like that, but it's just, as it's authored, it's how it is. Mm-hmm. But every time I look at it, I think, should I alter it this way? Should I alter it that way? It just seems so off. Like the drummer improvised that one section.
Yeah.
It was tough to get down, but overall, I'm glad for how it turned out, and it's amazingly fun.
Mm-hmm. I also think the bassist needs to calm down. Like, he needs to stop. Because, during the chorus, the bassist is just like, by the way, guys, I'm soloing. It's like...
the bass even plays the guitar solo alongside it. I wanted to kind of mark it as a bass solo, but it does something different that I didn't feel, with the bass chart being what it was, that it'd be right to mark it as a solo. Right. For guitar, that was fine. It was on its own stem, so that's good enough for me.
Yeah. Sound effects, you were going to say something?
No, I was going to say what he said. Then he said it first.
Awesome.
I'm just reading everyone's minds today, aren't I?
Yeah, apparently. The bass really comes into its own in this song. It's kind of funny how, especially during the chorus, it becomes very noticeable that the bassist is like, pay attention to me, guys!
Yeah, and it kind of has to, because the guitar is really great in this one. This is an example of what I was talking about when we were talking about Discord. The songs that had 3 or 4 guitar stems that I've had to chop up to make a good guitar chart. Mm-hmm. And this has a little bit of everything here and there. And of course, being a really fast BPM song, a lot of forced on hammer-ons, because I didn't think it would be fun having to strum the majority of what you just saw there.
Real guitarists strum everything.
Yeah, real guitarists strum everything.
Get real.
Rock band guitarists don't like it.
Get real. Rock band guitarists don't like anything. So there was a Family Feud thing at PAX East. Chris Collard from Wired was doing a Family Feud thing. And one of the categories was things gamers complain about. My entry was games.
And number one answer?
And I feel like it should have been the number one answer.
What was the number one answer?
I don't remember. It wasn't DLC.
Reviews?
No, that was up there though.
Was the game Stop?
No, I want to say it was DLC.
Maybe developers?
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember the number 3 was everything. Which I thought was really funny.
Unfortunately accurate.
Yeah.
I would have loved to be there. Family Feud's one of my favorite game shows to watch, and I want to be on there one day, just because at home it seems so easy, because I'm just getting all the number 1 answers and everything, but I gotta figure if you're up there, you're like, I'm suddenly stupid about this. Later, Hosen.
It's a lot more stressful. This has nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
But they might do it at PAX East, you never know, so maybe you can make it there.
I hope to actually be there this time around. Had to miss 2012 PAX East.
Yeah. Do we have any other thoughts on All the Hated?
I like the guitar.
How long are we going to let the silence last?
All right, I'll just say one last thing then about the band itself before we move on to the next one.
All right.
If you happen to actually be in Venezuela on December 16th, Sifting is going to perform there with Trivium and Dragon Force. So that's
that's a heck of a lineup.
I mean, you hear this song and you think, Trivium, Dragon Force, they're full on metal. This is, hard rock.
Yeah.
But Sifting, they've got a diverse set of music. I mean, from what I've heard, they've got songs that are hard rock, and then songs that border into or go into progressive metal. So, I'm really hoping to get more of them for Rock Band Network. But for now, the only news I have is Venezuela, December 16th, Trivium, Dragon Force.
So do you think do you think when Trivium plays In Waves live, it gives people seizures?
Oh, man. I should be sensitive to light. I mean, I've got a brother who's real sensitive to light, and yet I'm fine when I play that song.
That In Waves venue is the worst venue Harmonix has ever produced. I was like, I can't see the chart. Anyway, whatever.
Oh, well, yeah. And the one thing I remember about In Waves is that, Shady Vox on his Twitter told his iPhone to play Egg Whites, and then In Waves started playing, and I actually didn't recognize In Waves because I thought it was saying Egg Whites.
That's funny.
I thought he was actually growling that.
That's funny.
Yeah, there's another random.
Do we want to move into the third song this week then?
Yeah, I'm up for it.
Go for it.
Okay. This song is by the one and only brentalfloss, titled "This Is the Album You've Been Waiting For."
This is the album you've been waiting for. This is the album you've been waiting for. This is the wow you've been waiting for. Himina. You've had a special thought before, I know, 'cause I felt it.
That was "This Is the Album You've Been Waiting For" by brentalfloss. Your thoughts?
Sound Defense, is this the song you've been waiting for? Tell me.
This is the Keys chart I've been waiting for my entire life.
That Keys chart's pretty intense, dude.
It really is. I don't know if I've actually been waiting for it my entire life, but it is that's like up there with an Unkindness, the stuff that they like to do. It's maybe even harder because it's like
No, I think it's way harder.
Oh yeah, you've got like keys thrown in right in the middle of all these really fast moving notes, and you don't really have time to parse anything.
Yeah, so it's a lot of like really hard, really stretchy chords, and repeated a lot, sort of Elton John style. And then, in addition to that, there's a lot of like 2-chord runs, like up and down. And then, as if that wasn't enough, there's also a bunch of grace notes. And grace notes are really tough on piano.
Oh man.
Well, not on piano, but on keys and Rock Band. So yeah, this keys chart is intense, and it's easily the hardest looking thing on this entire song. But
yeah, it's I think it might be the only devil-tiered part of the song.
It definitely deserves it.
Steady 4 or lower.
Yeah, it definitely deserves it. Do you have any thoughts on keys as the guy who worked on it?
Oh man. Well, for one, thank every deity in existence for MIDI.
Yeah.
Because that made this job a lot easier to do. I mean, the MIDI was live feed MIDI, so it was all unquantized, and I was afraid to quantize it because, I mean, all these chords going on at once. Figured I'd lose something even if I didn't detect it later. But, intense keys, very fun if you can play them. If you can't, they're close enough. Very theatrical, like.
Yeah.
Like I was saying when we were watching it, it's the song itself. brentalfloss has said that it's inspired by "Don't Stop Me Now" by Queen. And Sound Defense, you mentioned that you were waiting for it to break out into that, and it did.
It did.
And also inspired by Elton John songs in general. And I've even heard comparisons later of this being a mix between Queen and these vocals of his. I mean, he's got real distinct vocals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely got that. I definitely got that sort of Broadway theatrical vibe from it. And it's not hard to get. Like, I think it's pretty clear that that's what he's shooting for, and he pulls it off really, really well. You have like 10 stories. Like, the entire time we listened to this, you were like, "Oh, this has a story. This has a story." So, just pick something that you have a story about and tell us about.
Okay, the guitar solo.
Okay, the guitar solo, which is really quick. I'll just describe it real quick. It's really quick. It's very simple, and the ending is sort of like a not a brutal thing, but it's like a really fast tremolo picking sort of thing. And then it's like in and out. But yeah, guitar solo.
That picking at the very end was, we've had a total of 3 people end up looking at that thing. 2 in chart toppers and 1 in playtest. Really digging into that chart and trying to figure out what timing is going on here. Because, I mean, they were randomly playing. We authored it to straight triplets, because, I mean, that's the intent right there. It's triplet strumming, with triplet little hits here and there. But I mean, it's like they were just really strumming real fast, and then finger here, at random spots. And it's like, all right, where am I supposed to put this note? Where am I supposed to put this one? Did you double tap this, or are you still strumming? What's going on here?
So difficult to put together. Is what you're telling me.
Yeah, and yet it still ended up being part of a 4-dot song, I think, because it's like one of the only hard parts of the whole song.
Yeah.
It's a moving song. It moves here to there, got a lot of hopos, a bit of strumming, but nothing really difficult until you hit the solo, and thankfully it's brief. So that's the only thing that didn't make me give it 5 dots.
Right. You said there's also another story tied to this that you want to dive into.
Well, to the song and the album itself. brentalfloss fans will already know about this, but this song is the first track on the album Bits of Me. And it was made to promote the album. I mean, he put out the a music video of him, and even had a Guitar Hero controller in there, but that was before we contacted him. So, but yeah, this song is to promote the album, which the rest of it is just video game music with lyrics, because that's what he does. That's how he got big on YouTube.
Makes sense that a song called "This Is the Album You've Been Waiting For" would be a promotional vehicle for the album.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's that. And, well, the album took a while to come out, but he actually leaked the album on torrent sites and all that. And people saw it and instantly went for it. The thing is, he trolled everyone, because he actually replaced every single track with something different. Like, for This Is the Album You've Been Waiting For, he sang it completely in pirate speak, with a pirate accent. And for every other song, he starts off with the first few seconds of the actual song, and then it cuts out and becomes something else completely, like a narrative, a scolding of the person for stealing the album. I think there was a guest spot by the Nostalgia Critic in there somewhere, talking about how piracy or something like that. Like, you pirate the whole album, it's something completely different and yet worth keeping on its own. Right.
That's something kind of neat. I always like, people always get all bent out of shape about piracy but about anti-piracy stuff. But
yeah.
I love hearing about anti-piracy stuff, because a lot of people can be really creative with it. My favorite story about anti-piracy is what happens if you pirate Earthbound. You ever heard that story?
Yes.
Paolo?
I haven't heard it.
So if you pirate Earthbound, the entire game, all of the enemies are way harder. And when you get
There's way more of them.
Oh, there's more of them, they're harder, and there's no indication that this is because it's pirated. And then when you get to the final boss, the game locks up and deletes your save.
Holy. Wow.
It's like the biggest troll piracy thing ever.
It sounded worth pirating at first. Yeah. And then at the delete your save, yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
unless you're like a Let's Player or something, that doesn't sound worth it at all.
It's so crazy that it's like, you've worked harder to get to this point than someone who bought the game. and then they're just gonna cut the legs out from underneath you.
Yeah, there's actually, you can find a list online from crack.com entirely of creative anti-piracy methods. So,
Yeah,
if
I
you're
love.
interested, that's something to look at.
I'm always more a fan of creative anti-piracy methods over stuff like, just like, I'm gonna sue you.
Yeah, this is yeah. That's why I was real glad to hear about this, about what Brent did, because that was just the pirate song by itself is hilarious. And
It sounds like it'd be funny.
yeah. I think it even ends with just farting, because he decides, I ran out of lyrics, so here's a bunch of fart noises.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do we have any other thoughts on the song as it is in Rock Band? I think, again, we could hit on keys. I think vocals are catchy enough that they're a worthwhile thing.
Drums are pretty good, too. I mean, they're not the most difficult thing in the world. And, I mean, there's patterns you've seen before, but it's got that one tom section that really stands out.
That's true. There is
where you write on the green tom and then eventually hit the other two. And
there's some neat tom stuff going on drums, and there is the guitar solo that we spoke of. It's really quick, but it does look fun. Do we want to launch into our fourth song for this week?
I'm ready enough for it.
All right, let's go.
All right. This song is by Skylliton. It's called Crabplosion. That was Crabplosion by Skylliton. Your thoughts on that one?
I think it's about animal cruelty. Let's continue. I'm just kidding. So apparently this video is known on the internet by people who are more savvy than me.
Yeah, it's from a clip from Dragon Ball Z, the Abridged series. It's from one episode where they're discussing where Bulma is, and Krillin's guessing that she's doing something girly, like doing her makeup or whatever, and she's actually under the water in that submarine machine robot thing, fighting a giant crab. And so this song plays during that, while they're still contemplating about what girly things she could be doing. And so, the fans of the series wanted a full-length version, because it was just a clip that was made for the episode. So the guys behind this, Skylliton, made the full version, and they sell it now on iTunes and Amazon for $1, and the proceeds go to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
That's cool.
And because of that, this song is doing the same for Rock Band Network. Just like we did with Firehouse Bar, all of the money here, not going to us, not going to Skylliton, St. Jude.
So another track on the network that, if you want to feel good about yourself and own a song about crabs,
yeah,
you can purchase this track.
It is a unique opportunity
for children.
Yes, a unique opportunity to help children and to raise awareness about crabplosions.
About evil crabs trying to kill you.
Yes, which is
because like this song,
a menace, really. I mean, I saw that Skyrim video. Mud crabs are crazy.
Crab battle, dude.
Yeah, I saw that South Park episode.
I love how this song tries to. It starts off killing crabs, so you're wondering, okay, this kind of sounds cruel, if you're not familiar with DBZ Abridged. And then later it starts talking about how the crabs are coming up on your boat trying to kill you and all of a sudden you're like, oh, these
don't
are
kill me,
killer
crabs.
mutant crabs. Okay, kill them.
There's this one lyric about a claw ripping people in half or something.
Yeah, because it's like, it's supposed to be that one giant crab from DBZ, and that thing was bigger than a person.
Yeah.
So that thing could snap a few boats easily.
Yeah. I think the two standouts on this are drums and bass.
Yeah, people seem to prefer the bass a lot more than the guitar, even though I love the way the guitar sounds. It's just not as fun as a constantly moving bass.
Yeah. A bass is really busy and has a lot of hopos and does a lot and pretty much plays the entire song. Whereas guitar doesn't play as often, but it does have, a really good tone to it. It has strong
main riff, chugging riff, and that's really about it.
Yeah.
But, it's still pretty fun.
And drums are pretty complicated because it's all electronic drums, so.
Oh yeah, and all the toms and cowbells that we ended up putting in because there was no way we were going to take those out.
The cowbells are pretty fine. Every time they come up, I laugh.
I thought they would be a lot harder to play because I mean we were talking about it internally at first, about, do we author these here? You know, what are we going to do about this drum chart? And then I was convinced to eventually go with what we have now, and I thought, this looks complicated, and I sit down to play it, and I suck at first, but then I start to get the hang of it, and I think, okay, this isn't an immediate devil tier craziness like I thought it would. This is just, it's tough, but it's really fun.
Right, and it doesn't seem too over the top and unreasonable. I would make slight variations to how I do it, but that's just how I author, so...
Yeah, this is one of those polarizing drum charts. I mean,
yeah, it's wrong. Get rid of it. I don't like it.
Yeah, I've heard different ways of how people would tackle this chart, but it seems pretty good as it is. I'm happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, it seems all right. Sound Defense, do you have any other thoughts on Crabplosion?
Not really. I feel like I've played this drum chart before. Like, I can't convince myself that I actually own the song, but I have distinct memories of, you know, playing that drum chart. And it is a lot of fun, actually. It is absolutely unorthodox doing that, you know, putting your hi-hat with the left hand and doing the cowbell with the right. That's rather unusual, but, you know, it was pretty enjoyable. I like it.
Well, that's good to hear.
Well done.
Do you want to go into your last song? Or not last song, because there's two more left. Your fifth song, Paolo.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to lead into
penultimate song.
Penultimate, yes.
Yeah. I'm going to lead into it by saying that during this period, you know, when Crabplosion came out, it was around the same time that All the Hated came out and this next song. And it was kind of a pattern because all these songs are like 5 dots on drums, barely 3 dots on everything else. And we just kept pumping them one after the other. And I thought, is this going to be our new thing now? But, yeah, that didn't turn out to be the case. But still, this next song is just as fun on drums. It is from straight out of junior high. The song is called Dudes and Guys and Things.
Dudes and guys and things and stuff. Dudes and guys and things and stuff. It's all there is, I've had enough. Dudes and guys and things and stuff. Oh, dudes and guys and things and stuff. Dudes and guys and things and stuff. It's all there is, I've had enough. Dudes and guys and things and stuff.
Dudes and Guys and Things and Stuff by Straight Outta Junior High. Your thoughts on that one?
I like I like everything about that. I like the name of it. I like dudes, I like guys, I like things, and I'm a pretty big fan of stuff. And on top of that, naming your band Straight Outta Junior High is really good. I think that's really funny.
I love these guys' names. It's they seem to be one for silly songs. Like I was listening to a bunch of their stuff when they first approached us about Rock Band, and they've got some really fun tracks to listen to. And I mean, the album this comes from, the album's name is Sharknoceros. So I mean, just coming into that, you've got to expect great stuff.
That's amazing. Sound Defense.
I approve.
Sound Defense. What do you think about it?
I think that this is like a really active song on pretty much every instrument, including the bass. It's just like drum chart's really intense. Guitar is always moving across chords. It's high energy song.
Yeah.
It was really earworm.
Yeah, it's really high energy pop punk. And that is one of my favorite genres. So it's like, you might as well have written a song for me. Like
we were talking about what band these guys remind us of. We came up with some names like Sum 41, Newfound Glory, No Use for a Name, that sort of thing.
Yeah, early Sum 41. All Killer No Filler Sum 41.
Yeah, that's sort of area.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, high energy pop punk, and that's just something I really dig. And you know, the drums are really, really complicated, and they're going to give you a workout. You know, it's going to be pretty tough. And the guitar solo in it, a lot of the guitar stuff seems a little bit southern rock influenced a little bit. Just in terms of like the tone they use and the style that they play. You know, the way they do chord bends and stuff like that is reminds me of like a Lynyrd Skynyrd type of sound.
It kind of does. It's one of those things that keeps a song more diverse than, you know, what you're expecting. I mean, it's a straightforward song, all things considered. You know, the band has even said this is the greatest song about nothing that you'll ever listen to.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've got, you know, standard chords, standard chord progressions, super fast drums and all that. And then the solo kind of just kicks it into a slightly different direction. And then, and then of course after that leads into a nice little slow down bridge before it kicks you right back into the ending.
Right.
It's a really nice, well put together song. It's, like I said, it's really high energy, so it's always fun, just to have the song playing. So it was really fun to work on.
Yeah.
And it stands also as one of my favorite drum charts, even if I'm terrible at the really fast rolls, because this is like, I forgot, 190 BPM or something. It's a really fast song.
Yeah. And like I said, it's definitely my style. So, I mean, if you're looking for a good pop punk song or, just a really fun drum song, I think this is right up that alley. Do we want to, is there anything else that we want to touch on with Straight Outta Junior High?
This song will get stuck in your head in 2 seconds.
It will.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you probably still have it in your head at this point, like from the sample alone.
Oh, yeah. The name of this song actually reminds me of a great discussion I once had in one of my classes. We were talking about classification, and we were talking about the difference between things and stuff. And apparently, you can draw a distinct separation between things and stuff.
Was this a philosophy class?
No, it was actually a computer science class. We were trying to catalog the entire world into certain categories. Some things are things, and then you have stuff. So the difference that it is basically the examples they use. A table is a thing, and butter is stuff. It's like if you cut a table in half, you don't have two tables. But if you cut butter in half, both halves are still butter. That is the main distinction between things and stuff.
Fascinating. What's the difference?
My only reaction to that, dude,
guy, it doesn't work.
Man.
Do we want to launch into our final track for this evening then?
Yes. The song I've saved for last. This is a bit more of a throwback than these other ones. This is our second ever Rainbowdragoneyes track called Heavy Weather. The Storm of the Undead by Rainbowdragoneyes. So, thoughts on this latest piece of insanity?
Sound effects go.
Chiptune monster.
My face, it may not look like it, but it is heavily melted right now. I got no face no more. That song completely melted it up.
Yes, and there's no guitar. It's all chip. It's all whatever he wants to call it, because I seem to remember him not insisting that it's not chiptune.
Well, it is chiptune in the basic definition, because it's music made from a Game Boy, correctly.
Right. And if you ever watch the videos of it, it's really fascinating how he does it.
Yeah, he uses I think he uses a little sound DJ, so he uses that, routes it out of the Game Boy and into his program, and then renders it out. And because of that, drums are a single track. Always. So yeah.
As you can tell from the sample, because the sample is going to be of the 2X version.
Yeah. And
that becomes a little bit difficult.
Yeah. And I've got to say also that just like with Creatures of Deception, only even more so here, those drums are heavily undercharted.
Right. Well, they have to be, because no one played them.
Yeah. Each of those blue toms, wherever there was a snare, there was also supposed to be a blue tom somewhere there. There's supposed to be like a lot more stuff in there that actually isn't, because then it'd be humanly unplayable, and neither of you two, and I would neither, in our right minds, would pass that in peer review.
No.
I thought you were going to say pass that in the game, which I was like, yes, I could.
Well,
I was remember.
Is that a challenge?
I remember
Freddie Green was
3-pad hits here and there.
I'll figure it out. Freddie Green
3-pad hits. I'll do it.
Was passing a song at one point. Was passing Andromeda at one point, and they were like, "We're not sure if this is passable." So, like in my review, I was like, "Here's what you should change." By the way, image of me passing the song. But yeah, this. I mean, drums is pretty insane, and because of that, I don't think that it's interesting. I don't think anyone should ever play drums on the song. Anyone who likes this song on drums is crazy.
I've seen some crazy stuff. I mean, every time I do a Rainbowdragoneyes song, well, not Thrash Bat, but that's infinitely easier, even if still difficult.
Right.
Every time I do one like Creatures or Heavy Weather, I always think, nobody's going to pass this. I kind of feel horrible doing this, because, I mean, everyone's going to struggle, and I don't even think these are humanly possible. And then the next week, one of the top drummer guys puts up a video, 99% gold star Rainbowdragoneyes. I'm just sitting here like, what have I been doing with my life?
Thanks, Dragon Taser.
Dragon Taser, V-Dog, those guys are always the ones who consistently do awesome on Rainbowdragoneyes songs.
Dragon Taser's broken. He doesn't make sense. I think he's fake. But
Dragon Taser was invented by Mythbusters.
Yeah, I saw that episode of Mythbusters where they busted the myth of Dragon Taser being human. As for the other instrumentation, there's a lot of... The vocals are actually surprisingly... You might not think much of them, but, they have a lot going on. And the harmonies, you said, were pretty complicated.
3 words for you. 17 dry vox stems.
Why did he need so many dry vox stems?
Well, he's good at doing vocal type stuff. I mean, he's done backing vocals for other people before, so he's real meticulous on how he does that kind of thing. He's got double tracks here and there. So I mean, sure. Half of the stems already ruled out because they're double tracks. His growls usually take 3 to 5 stems on their own, which is why we went for the whole 3-part harmony growl here, because just enough of them were different, as different as growls could be.
Right.
And there's also, little lines here and there. He's got the chorus on a different line. His girlfriend, Ronit, who's also got her own music, which is awesome. She guests on a few lines here, so she's got her own stem just for that. Her own double-track stem. So, a lot of stuff to work through.
It's a lot of vocals in the song, apparently.
Yeah. Really high ones, really low ones.
Yeah. You wouldn't think it based on the sample or based on the song itself when you're not processing it.
Yeah, if your sample didn't show the pre-last chorus section where Ronan comes in, you probably wouldn't think too much of it because it's all standard harmonies. But that section is when everything's going on. The background single line vocalization, then Ronit's lines, then the lead line. It's all crazy.
Yeah, the harmonies before that remind me of the harmonies in Amaranth, the Nightwish song, where
that's a good point. Where they sort of cross over each other.
Yeah, where they cross over each other back and forth. Where it looks like you're supposed to keep singing the same note, but you're not because it's actually going up and down. But the other harmony is coming in, and they're crossing each other. And it's a really neat effect in Amaranth, and it's a neat effect here as well. As for other instruments, bass is dumb.
Yeah, I've noticed everyone saying that it's one of the toughest bass charts that have come out, and it's definitely the toughest bass chart we've ever put out. With all the strumming loves to change itself every so often. 1 second I'm doing like 16th or 32nd. I can't tell anymore because of how fast that song is. It's 195 beats per minute. You've got like real fast straight strumming, and then it switches to triplet, and then triplet strumming, then straight strumming, then 2 notes here and there, and it's just
a trill lane.
Yeah, and the trill lanes. Yeah, and then of course the standard 8th note thing that happens in pretty much every Rainbowdragoneyes song. The easy part, I like to call it.
Yeah. And then, a ripping guitar solo.
Oh yeah, and that's not Rainbowdragoneyes actually. That's a guest guitar solo by fellow chiptune act Darius Carlin.
That's interesting.
So yeah, there's a second collaborator in here. Yeah, it's
collaboration's all up in this song.
Yeah. So a few harmonies by Ronit, guest guitar solo. But yeah, everything else is still from the chiptune madman himself.
Mm-hmm. And then keys is just as insane as anything else. I mean, the song is
I took
nuts.
Forever getting those keys done. No MIDI reference on that one.
Yeah.
Just nothing but
luckily not a lot of chords, but
yeah, thankfully I used to think he didn't use chords at all for songs. I mean,
it'd probably be tough to.
Yeah, because the only times I remember him using chords are the original Creatures of Deception, but that was just 2 chip pieces in 1 stem. The RB3 version doesn't have that. The solo doesn't count because that's Darius Carlin. And I used to think that, but then Thrash Bath has a few little chords here and there.
Interesting.
But they're 10 times easier than anything here. These are just really fast keys patterns that I'm surprised people have been able to hit.
Yeah.
I can't hit them at all.
It's pretty nuts.
Like some of those parts, we're talking like another step sort of speed, just in really short 4 or 5 note bursts.
Yeah, and really, really long arpeggios and a lot of hand stretching. It's definitely a final tier song for the leads. You know,
Absolutely. I feel somewhat responsible for this chart because one of the first things we did was Veil of Illumination, and that just sort of like, well, we're starting out with this. I mean, where could we possibly go from here?
It's like end game. Boom, we've hit the end game already.
Anything goes.
Yeah.
I remember you guys put out that Andromeda video, and I thought really difficult keys charts. At that time, I was actually in talks, to get Heavy Weather, and I already saw what the keys were going to be like. So I thought, okay, these guys just put out a ton of insane keys charts at once with this Andromeda stuff. Does mine actually beat this, or is it just short, or what's going to be the final verdict here? Right. And Andromeda shaped it in one other way, too, because, that whole Chameleon Carnival keys alt-strumming thing that happened in Creators, these are too fast to be one-handed and all that kind of stuff. Affected it here, too, because I've got, 16 triplet 30-second straight things going on in the keys that we have to cut down to sustains and single notes and all. Mm-hmm. So feedback from Andromeda actually ended up helping to shape this chart.
Yeah, it's interesting how Rock Band Network was so close to sort of, because, Rock Band 3 came out, and then we were working with keys, immediately, basically. Obviously Rock Band Network 2 didn't roll out the same day that Rock Band 3 rolled out, but, we were already with that in that mindset. So it was interesting how close Rock Band Network was to to keys existing and sort of setting the standards, along with harmonics.
Yeah, I remember when all that was happening, how I'm pretty sure at this point now that every group was pursuing keys-centric songs. Because, we weren't exactly pursuing them that much, but around that time is when we started getting bigger. Rainbowdragoneyes had gotten notice. We put out our last 2 RBN1 songs at the last second. And then all of a sudden, all these artists are contacting us saying, hey, put our song here, put our song there. And a lot of them end up with keys. And I'm like, all right, well, time to sit down and start learning this stuff.
Yeah.
I've got 10 keys songs to work on now.
At least Easy Keys is really simple.
Oh,
on 5-lane. So is that everything we have for chart toppers?
That should be it. Yeah, that's all 6 of them.
All right, then before we head into outros, then take a look at some of the songs that we have in peer review right now. Another edition of the Rhythm Authors podcast. If you would like to know more about Rhythm Authors, you can go to rhythmauthors.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Rhythm Authors, and you can subscribe to the YouTube channel at youtube.com/Rhythm Authors. Also, we have a podcast email now. So if you'd like to send me or Sound Defense a message or anyone else on the podcast team, send that to podcast@rhythmauthors.com. And if you'd like to know more about the Rock Band Network, you can go to rockbandnetwork.com or creators.rockband.com.
If you are intrigued by this 5 frame per second video of me and want to see more of my stuff, you can check out my YouTube at Sound Defense RB, my Twitter account at the Sound Defense, or my various writings at crack.com.
All right. If you want to know more about Chart Toppers, you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, Chart Toppers Authoring and Chart Toppers respectively. Our YouTube is CT Authoring. And if you want to know more about me, for whatever reason, then my Twitter is Arcanon, that's Arcanon, and my YouTube's Arcanon24.
And if you'd like to know more about me, you can find me on Twitter at @mistaken, and you can find all my writing at pmsclan.com and gamezone.com, and that's MYSTAKIN. Folks,
Yeah.
Another episode is now completed. Thank you so much for joining us, Paula.
Always glad to be here.
God damn it, Mistaken. How do we keep doing this?
What?
We're wearing the same shirt.
Yes! Yes!
On.
This is fucking awesome. This is now the greatest podcast that's ever existed.